Most animal-like plants. 10 plants that behave like animals. Ten. Daughter vine plants that can smell. Ever heard of vampires and doubted their existence? Well, today we are going to shock you even more because we are here to present a parasitic plant that has no roots and can't produce its food. It lives entirely on a host plant and drains its supply from it. Its tiny teeth-like probes pierce the stems of other plants and suck life out of it. But that is not what surprises us the most. What surprises us the most is that this plant is able to choose one host plant over the other, and prefers tomatoes more than any plant. According to research by Penn State University, this vine sniffs out its victims around it and finally makes a choice. How does it manage that with no eyes, ears, nose, not to mention brain, much like animals say? Of course. Nine. The sensitive Mimosa pudica. It is much expedient for plants to respond to touch, but not as fast as lightning. Well, maybe not even close. Water pressure against the cell walls keeps the leaves stiff. When it's pinched or stroked, the plant quickly sags. The plant is native to South and Central America. The exact reason for its fast response to touch is not fully understood, but however, you don't expect plant to move like they have rapid response muscles, do you? 8. Desmodium gyrans dancing plant. The dancing plant, as it is well known, is a plant that breaks all the rules of plant behavior. Plants may react to touch or light or fire, but not to music. Right? Wrong. This plant is believed to react to sound, and it is sound that it is sensitive to more than anything. Charles Darwin himself was once thrilled and wrote to Sir Joseph Hooker in 1873, "Now I want to tell you, for my own pleasure, about the movements of the Desmodium gyrans." 7. Venus flytrap, an obvious catch, right? A lot of us are familiar with this predatory, sinister plant. If ever there is a plant that exhibits animal behavior, it is the flytrap. Native to Carolina, when an unsuspecting insect approaches the open leaves, all that takes is a brush in the hairs of the plant and the trap closes and locks the insect in. The animal is then digested and used as a supplement to the food suppliers of the plant. Wait, digestion. A plant? You read that well? It's one of the most amazing carnivorous plants. Seats. Spotted knapweed, defensive plants. Here comes a plant that can wage wars. Seriously. This is a plant that is a serious threat to rangelands. To absorb some nutrients from the soil, knapweed root deploys an array of chemicals, but these chemicals also have a nasty benefit. They seem to kill off lots of other plants so that the knapweed can take even more hold on the soil or territory. A behavior that seems a lot animal-like. 4. Pitcher plant. Another carnivorous plant is the pitcher plant. Evolution has left the leaves developed into funnel shape, with a hood structure growing over the opening. The trap set by this plant is pretty simple. Insects are attracted by color and scent and nectar near the opening. Once the insect gets close, it steps on the slippery opening and falls into the interior, where it ultimately dies and digested. 3. Nepenthes, better known as monkey cups, a nickname these plants earn due to the fact that monkeys are sometimes observed drinking rainwater from them. They are also carnivorous, trapping insects, but larger species of these plants like the Nepenthes rafflesiana also trap even rats. We have already established that these plants look like cups, so these cups contain certain fluids which are used to drown and digest animals that fall therein. The next time you think humans traditionally are the only ones that hunted rats, think twice. 2. Animal-like plants. Drosera, commonly called the sundews, is a carnivorous plant with nearly 200 species. The defining features of this plant are the movable tentacles, which have sweet and sticky nectar-like secretions. Once the insect lands on the secretions for a meal, they are trapped, and the plant erects pretty cool reinforcements of more tentacles to trap it further. The plant is then digested and absorbed. The idea of digestion seems pretty common with the plant world. 1. Acacia trees of South Africa. In an incident that happened in the Limpopo Savannah in South Africa, scientists learned more about plant intelligence, which we will summarize. It was during a prolonged drought that a large number of kudos, which fed on the only green, seemingly life-saving acacia trees, began to mercilessly die in large numbers. Post-mortem studies revealed that these kudos were killed by a poison released by the trees intentionally to reduce the increased number of kudos feeding on them, as a self-defense mechanism. Professor Van Hoven's tiring studies unveiled that the acacia sensed the increasingly large number of kudos chopping off the leaves and increased the concentration of a chemical called tannin to inflict death on the kudos to stop further chopping off of their leaves.